أرسله ربه بالهدى ودين الحق ليظهره على الدين كله. أما بعد فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله تعالى وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم ألا وإن كل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. I bear witness that there is none worthy of our worship except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and I bear witness that Muhammad, peace be upon him, is the seal of the prophets and the final messenger to all of humanity. Whomever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guides, there is none to misguide, and whomever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala leaves to go astray, there is none to guide aright. أما بعد فخطبتنا اليوم هي تكملة لما بدأناه في المرة السابقة عن علو الهمة. وطبعا إذا أردنا أن تعلو همتنا لابد أن نتبع ونسير على خطى أفضل الناس وهم صحابة النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. فصحابة النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم هم أفضل قرن في قرون المسلمين كما أخبر النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم في الصحابة. So today inshallah we'll continue our discussion about how to think high and aim big, or aim big and think high, as we said last time. And we said the best way to do it is to walk in the footsteps of the Sahaba, the companions of the Prophet ﷺ, because this is the best generation among Muslims. So if you want to be successful in this dunya, if you want to get the best out of Ramadan, then you have to follow the example of the Prophet ﷺ. So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us the life and the strength to reach the month of Ramadan and to be able to fast during the day and to stand at night in salah and to accept all our good deeds. The question is, before we talk about the Sahaba, how can we have ulul himma like the Sahaba? Is there anyone among us here who is as good or good like the Sahaba, the companions of the Prophet ﷺ? And what do we need to do to be like them in goodness? It all boils down to ulul himma. Abdullah ibn Mas'ud radiallahu anhu tells his son Abdul Rahman, so Abdullah ibn Mas'ud was giving his last will, he was dying basically, according to this narration. فقال لابنه إن استطعت ألا يأتي عليك يوم إلا وأنت خير منك بالأمس فافعل. So he told his son, Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, told his son Abdul Rahman, when Abdullah ibn Mas'ud radiallahu anhu was giving up his soul, so this is his last wasiyah. He told his son, if you are able to be today better than yesterday, and to be better tomorrow than today, don't hesitate. You have to do it right away. So this is what we mean by ulul himma. You always try to improve, you always try to be better than yesterday. And I always give the example of school students. If you have a school student who stays in grade 3 for 5 years, I mean, there's nothing good about him. 5 years in grade 3, the same is also true for us. If you are today what you were 5 years ago, you're not better than the student who stays in grade 3 for 5 years. It's exactly the same thing. You have to keep improving, you have to keep learning. And this is what we mean by ulul himma. So again, is there anyone here among us who's better or good like the Sahaba? And what can we do to be good like them? First, we have to agree that the Sahaba were the greatest among the Muslims. كما أخبر النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم خير الناس قرني ثم الذين يلونهم ثم الذين يلونهم كما في البخاري ومسلم. The Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم says it very clearly in many authentic hadith and Bukhari and Muslim other books that the best generation among Muslims are the Sahaba, the companions of the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم, then those who came after them, then those who came after them. Why? لأنهم الذين أيدوا ونصروا وجاهدوا وأنفقوا. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in the Quran the reason why the Sahaba, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala radiyallahu anhum wa radu anhum wa a'adda lahum jannat, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is pleased with them and they are pleased with Him because they are the ones who supported Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They are the ones who were around him, sharaf al-suhba wa sharaf al-ru'ya. They saw him, they were with him all the time and they supported him. فَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا بِهِ وَعَزَّرُوهُ وَنَصَرُوهُ وَاتَّبَعُوا النُّورَ الَّذِي أُنزِلَ مَعَهُ. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says they are the ones who supported Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They struggled with him. They sacrificed their time and everything. So do you want to compare someone who spends his whole life in front of Allah's book, Islam's book, like the one who spends his whole life in front of Facebook? I mean, they're not the same. So these are the reasons why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran that He is pleased with the Sahaba, they are pleased with Him, and He has given Jannah. So collectively, the Sahaba short answer that no, nobody is similar to the Sahaba in their fadl, in their favor, in anything related to them, in their goodness. So this is the short answer. The long answer is, maybe, why not? The Sahaba are classified into two groups. Fudala al-Sahaba wa Ammat al-Sahaba. So the Sahaba are of two types. There are the prominent Sahaba, then there's the average Sahaba. So the prominent Sahaba, nobody can be like them whatsoever. So for example, when you talk about Ahlul Bayt, Khadija radiallahu anha, Fatima radiallahu anha, Al-Abbas radiallahu anhu, Ali radiallahu anhu, Fatima, Al-Hasan, Al-Hussein, the family of the Prophet sallallahu, nobody can be like them. They are the best and they are the finest Muslims. فاللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم وبارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد. So the family of the Prophet ﷺ. Then number two, you have the Sahaba al-Ashra al-Mubashirin bil-Jannah. The 10 Sahaba who got the news of Jannah, like Abu Bakr and Umar and Uthman and Ali, to the end of the list of the Sahaba. Nobody can be like them. Then you have the people of Badr. Can be anyone like them? Of course not. Even amongst the Sahaba who didn't witness Badr, nobody is like the people of Badr. Even among the Sahaba who were there with the Prophet ﷺ, but they didn't go to Badr, the people of Badr were the best and they were the finest. Even among the Sahaba radiallahu anhu. Then, the people of Al-Hudaybiyah, they agree, they are among the best and the finest Sahaba of the Prophet ﷺ. So these are the prominent Sahaba and nobody can be like them. Sorry to break your heart. They are the finest, they are the best, nobody can be like them. But the average Sahaba, yes, there are some among us who sacrifice, who do good things, those who raise their children in this time of difficulty and challenges, and you raise them as good Muslims, those who work hard to provide for their families and they stay away from the haram, although haram is very easy, and those who are patient in difficult times, those who sacrifice their money, they give iftar to people in Ramadan, those who sacrifice their time and they volunteer in the masjid, of course they are good, and the Sahaba, they did the same thing. So alhamdulillah, there's goodness about us. فشرف الصحابة رضوان الله عليهم في الصحبة وشرفنا أننا آمنا بالنبي صلى الله عليه وسلم والنار. There are hadith, many hadith in Muslim Imam Ahmad, in Sahih Muslim, in Al-Nasai, that suggest that there is something good about us too. Why? Because we believe in the Prophet ﷺ without seeing him. He says it very clearly. Those of us who are born and raised Muslim, and those of us who accepted Islam, the new reverts, many of them are here today, they accepted without seeing the Prophet ﷺ and they believe in him. And this is why the Prophet ﷺ called us ahibba'u in the hadith, that he loves us because we believe in him without seeing him. Okay, so of course in this we're also good. We believe in the Prophet ﷺ without seeing him. We have never seen his mu'jizat, his miracles, other than the Quran. And we have not experienced his generosity. So I'm going to give you a few examples. So for example, some of the Sahaba, they accepted Islam when they saw the Prophet ﷺ performing miracles. And the Prophet ﷺ did miracles, mu'jizat, like Musa alayhi salam and Isa and the other prophets, like the splitting of the moon. We were not there when the moon was split for the Prophet ﷺ. So we believed in him without seeing all these mu'jizat. Some of the Sahaba accepted Islam just because they saw the Prophet ﷺ in front of him. لما رأوا النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم ورأوا النور في وجهه وكذا أسلموا. They looked at the bright face of the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم and they accepted Islam on the spot. There's a hadith in Sahih Tirmidhi, Abdullah ibn Salam radiallahu anhu, he was a Jewish authority, and he said لما قدم النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم, Sahih Tirmidhi, قال لما قدم النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم إلى المدينة مهاجرا انجفل الناس قبل النبي، يعني خرجوا جميعا لاستقبال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. فيعني مشيت حتى قربت من النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم حتى انظر اليه، فلما وقع بصري اليه علمت ان وجهه ليس بوجه كذاب، يعني هو رجل الصدق والامانه والنبوه تظهر على وجهه، فوقع في قلب الاسلام. وكان اول ما قاله النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم: ايها الناس أطعموا الطعام وأفشوا السلام وصلوا الأرحام وقوموا بالليل والناس نيام تدخلوا الجنة بسلام. So Abdullah ibn Salam was a Jewish authority. He says in this authentic hadith in Sahih al-Tirmidhi that when the Prophet ﷺ came as an immigrant to Medina, every single person in the city went out to receive the Prophet ﷺ. So I went out with him. Then I pushed my way through the crowd to take a look at the Prophet ﷺ. And so when I looked at his bright face, I knew when I first laid my eyes on him that that was not the face of a liar. Prophethood was written all over his face. So at that moment, Islam was put in my heart. And the first thing I heard from the Prophet ﷺ, the first hadith I heard the Prophet ﷺ say was, "O people, feed the poor, and give salam to everyone, and stay at night in salah, and honor your family ties, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give you Jannah in peace." So this is the first thing he heard from the Prophet ﷺ. We have not seen the Prophet ﷺ. The description of him and his qualities are given in the Quran and also in the Sunnah. Of course, in the Sunnah, the way the Prophet ﷺ looked, his face, his physical characteristics, his qualities. But we have not seen the Prophet ﷺ in person. So we accepted in him without even seeing him. Also, some of the Sahaba accepted Islam because they experienced the generosity of the Prophet ﷺ. تمام؟ صفوان بن أمية كما في كتب السير لما خرج مع النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم في غزوة حنين وكان كافرا مشركا، بس هو خرج كده حتى يشوف الوضع. فلما انتهت المعركة وأخذوا الغنائم جعل صفوان ينظر إلى واديا ممتلئا بالأغنام والماشية والإبل وكذا. فقال له النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم: أيعجبك هذا يا صفوان؟ فقال: نعم. قال: هو لك وما فيه. فقال صفوان: والله ما جادت نفس أحد بمثل هذا إلا نفس نبي. وأسلم وهو في مكان. ومعروف أن صفوان بن أمية وعمير بن وهب حاولا قتل النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم، عملوا مؤامرة عشان يقتلوه، ثم أسلم عمير ثم أسلم صفوان. تمام؟ فكان عمير رضي الله عنه يقول: والله لما خرجت مع النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم إلى حنين ما كان أحد أبغض إلي منه، فلما أعطاني العير وكذا والوادي الممتلئ وكذا فقال: والله ما أصبح أحد أحب إلي منه. So in this story in the books of Sirah, Safwan ibn Umayyah, he was a kafir at the time. He conspired with another man by the name of Umayr ibn Wahb to assassinate the Prophet ﷺ. So eventually Umayr accepted Islam. Several years later, the Prophet ﷺ borrowed some shields from Safwan to go for the battle of Hunayn. So he went with the Prophet ﷺ, he went out with him. He said, "Let me go out and check out what happens." So after the battle, when they took the spoils of war, there was a valley full of goats and sheep and camels and everything. Huge, like hundreds or thousands of them. So Safwan started to stare at these animals. And the Prophet ﷺ noticed that. He was looking at them and he was staring at them. So the Prophet ﷺ said, "Ya Safwan," he was kafir at the time, "do you like this valley and everything in it?" So I said, "Yeah, it looks nice, I like it." So the Prophet ﷺ says, "This valley and everything in it is for you." And he was kafir. So he accepted Islam on the spot and he said, "Wallahi, no one will give so generously except the Prophet." And he accepted Islam on the spot. And he used to say after he took Shahada, "When I went out with Muhammad ﷺ for the battle of Hunayn, I hated no one in this world more than him. But when he gave me, he was generous with me. Now I don't love anyone more than him." Have you ever received a mail or a check in the mail from Rasulullah? Of course not. Have you experienced his financial generosity just like he did with some of the Sahaba? Of course not. So we love him without seeing him. That's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala أن يجمعنا مع النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم في الآخرة كما آمنا به ولم نره. وصلى اللهم على سيدنا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. الحمد لله رب العالمين واشهد ان لا اله الا الله وحده لا شريك له واشهد ان محمدا عبده ورسوله ارسله ربه رحمه للعالمين. النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول في الحديث الصحيح في صحيح الترمذي: امتي كالغيث لا يدرى أوله خير أم آخره. So the Prophet ﷺ says in this authentic hadith, in Sahih Tirmidhi and other books of hadith, that my ummah, this nation of Muslims, is like the rain. So the Prophet ﷺ says, the beginning of it is good and the last of it is good. So there's always goodness about Muslims, no matter where they are. There's goodness in every one of us. And as I said, there are some of us, and many of us, who sacrifice their time and their money to help the Muslim community. And those who are sincere, and those who pray, and those who fast. I've seen a lot of Muslims, they get old, and they still want to fast in Ramadan. They have medical conditions, and they come to me crying. They want to fast in the month of Ramadan. Some of them, they cry because they don't want to sit down in Taraweeh. They want to stand up. And they're old, and they're sick. They can't do it, but still they cry out of love for Islam, and for fasting, and for Taraweeh, and for the love of the Prophet ﷺ. And of course, there's goodness about these people. So there is goodness among us as a Muslim community, just like there was goodness among the Sahaba of the Prophet ﷺ. So this is the question regarding, is there anyone among us who is good like the Sahaba? And we said, yes, inshallah, there is goodness about us. And this should raise our morale to the sky. So the second question is, how can we follow the example of the Sahaba? How can we have ulu and himma like them? How can we walk in their footsteps? Basically, there are three things. If you do them, inshallah, you will be good like the Sahaba. You will have ulu and himma, and you will get the best of this life, and you will get the best out of the month of Ramadan. If you want to know what these three things are that you have to do to be like the Sahaba, you have to come next Jum'ah. نسأل الله سبحانه وتعالى أن يعلمنا ما ينفعنا وينفعنا بما علمنا. نسأل الله سبحانه وتعالى أن يبلغنا رمضان. اللهم بلغنا رمضان. اللهم وفقنا إلى الصيام وإلى القيام وإلى الصدقات وإلى سائر الأعمال. واغفر اللهم للمسلمين والمسلمات والمؤمنين والمؤمنات الأحياء منهم والأموات يا رب العالمين. اللهم إنا نسألك شفاعة النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. اللهم احشرنا تحت لوائك وارزقنا شفاعته واسقنا من حوضك. واجمعنا اللهم بالانبياء والصالحين والصحابه الكرام يا رب العالمين. اللهم لا تدع لنا ذنبا الا غفرته ولا هما الا فرجته ولا مريضا الا شفيته ولا ميتا الا رحمته ولا مظلوما الا نصرته ولا ظالما الا قصمته. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us the life and the strength to fast in the month of Ramadan and to stand at night in Salah and to help us be generous in this month. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us sincerity in everything we say and do, to give us the best in this life and the best in the life to come, to accept all our good deeds according to the best of our intentions, and to forgive us anything we have done by wrong, mistake, or forgetfulness. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to shower His mercy on those who built this masjid, and those who maintain it, and those who give iftar to the people who will be fasting in Ramadan. وصلى اللهم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه